suspect the Queen said yes, and then Charles and William got wind of it and said, as Hillary's wonderful piece says in the Times today, over my dead body.
Yesterday, you would have seen the crowds gathering to catch a glimpse of all the royal family who parade en masse for the fanfare and pomp of the annual Garter Day service. But there was one royal missing from the procession, the Duke of York. Prince Andrew had been due to attend, but after a last-minute intervention from his brother and nephew, he was told not to take part. That is so awkward. It's now becoming quite a pattern. The Duke wasn't seen anywhere during the Jubilee celebrations. The one event he was due to attend was scuppered by a positive COVID test. In fact, the last time he attended a public engagement, thank you for your encouragement, Stig, was back in March at the memorial service for the Duke of Edinburgh. So what could be next for Prince Andrew? Let's speak to Daisy McAndrew. She'll know. She presents on Talk TV and is also a fantastic royal commentator. Morning to you, Daisy.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very well. This whole intervention thing's a bit awkward, isn't it?
It is a bit awkward. I actually think that we need to go one step back. I think ever saying to him, to Prince Andrew, yes, you can come and be centre stage at the procession, was a huge mistake. And I mean, my hunch is, and I've slightly had it confirmed, is that he sort of got his mother at a weak moment. I mean, we've all done it when you want something and you wait for the right moment to ask. And I think a lot of what Prince Andrew's been doing for the whole of this year has been all concentrated on the Jubilee. Don't let your own hideous problems overshadow the Jubilee. Sort this out before the Jubilee. Pay this woman off before the Jubilee. And then I think he sort of got to the Jubilee and thought, well, now what? Am I allowed back in now that I haven't overshadowed the Jubilee? And sort of said, well, so obviously I can come to the procession. And I suspect the Queen said yes, and then Charles and William got wind of it and said, as Hillary's wonderful piece says in the Times today, over my dead body. And I think that's where we got to this, another very awkward U-turn.
Yes, absolutely. What is the relationship then with Charles and William on one side and Andrew on the other? I mean, do we know?
Well, we know that Andrew is the Queen's favourite son, that they've always got on incredibly well, and that they're seeing a lot of each other. Of course, he's just down the road at Royal Lodge. We know he's popping into Windsor Castle multiple times a week, so probably seeing more of her than he ever has before, or that she's ever had to put up with before. And so that relationship is close, and we know the relationship between Charles and William is, or certainly on a professional level, is very, very strained. And I think that they believed he would go quietly at this stage, and he's not doing it. I also think that earlier on in the year, when everybody, including those closest to her, was so worried about the Queen's health, I think a lot of people in that inner circle were just thinking about 2 weeks ahead, 4 weeks ahead. How is she? Is she going to be well enough to take part in the Jubilee celebrations? And now that's all over. And I think my belief is that she's here. She's a lot stronger than we thought she was earlier in the year. She's going to be around longer than we thought potentially she might be. And that has led to some difficult discussions now about Andrew's future, because I think Andrew thinks that whilst she's still around, he's still got a chance because she will always fight his corner. But of course, in reality, Charles and William, they're not in the driving seat. Don't get me wrong. The Queen is still in control, but they are doing an increasing amount and sort of taking on a kind of chairman and CEO role. And she's a sort of president, in the business sense of the word, not in the American sense of the word. So, they are taking on a lot more duties and roles and undertakings, but this Andrew issue is a real problem.
Just one other story, just very quickly, in the Times today. I feel like I'm at school. Prince Charles and Boris Johnson hate each other.
I know that was another very good story today. And this has been rumoured for a long time, that there was a Balmoral visit and Charles and those around him thought that Boris Johnson had been very disrespectful, and he had been, he hadn't given the Prince of Wales his full attention. He'd been distracted. And then Charles was asked to record some sort of eulogy type comments for TV cameras. to be held back in the case of the Prince of Wales's death, and apparently was heard saying to his advisors, "I haven't got anything good to say about him. I can't stand the man."
He witched him. He witched him.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and so I think it's exactly, he witched him. I can't stand the man.
I can't stand him.
I mean, the funny thing is, at the weekend we were talking about, how awkward it's going to be when Charles has Boris Johnson as his first prime minister. Well, I think that's taking some very, very, very big political assumptions. That's assuming that the prime minister is going to stay longer in that position than the Queen is going to be alive. I wouldn't take any money on that if I was a bookies at the moment. But of course, it is a possibility. But rather sweetly, we now know that Carrie and Camilla are pretty good friends.
Oh, well then.
That Camilla reached out when Boris Johnson was in hospital, and apparently really was very, very nice, which would fit. We know Camilla is that type of person.